4 turtles. Had them. I had Splinter.
I mean, I want that turtle. I want all these toys, but I really want that turtle.
Hello, hello, hello. Little hottie alert. It's a new.
Mom jeans.
I mean,
happened in the 90s.
seeing the turtles, like the old school turtles, though, just is so nostalgic. I was thinking, I used to love drawing when I was a kid. I still do, but that was like one of the first things that I learned how to draw somewhat well. I mean, not very well, but you know, that was one of the that and Super Mario Brothers.
For me, it was Turtles and Snoopy.
Okay,
Snoopy,
yeah, I can see that.
easy.
Yeah, I would fuck that up too, though. I definitely, because that's what kind of got me out of it, is that I had a friend that was really good at drawing and he could recreate like anything freehand, like even simple stuff like Bart Simpson. You think like, oh, it's easy to draw, but it's so easy to screw up. And yeah, dude, that was a fun time though. Just like all those like first things you learn how to draw. But there's like 3 things cemented that I can still to this day draw exactly as my 10-year-old self did back in the day.
So what was your method? Did you go top to bottom?
Yeah, I'd usually start with like the head and then just like work my way down. Especially with the turtles, I'd start with the mask first and get that kind of like where you wanted it, and you could kind of go from there, you know.
Like once you start to get into the like the arms and the hands, that's kind of when I'm lost.
Yeah, I actually Kendra framed like this drawing my parents kept of like the first Ninja Turtle I drew with crayon. It's somewhere in my house right now, but
Wow.
it's not great, Steve. But yeah. Once you get down like below the neck, it can really get wonky. Even to this day, like I don't draw them well. I screw that up. They become like gigantic, like muscle
Blobs.
bros, you know.
Or that. It's a toss up once you get past that neck, man. And then speaking of turtles, man, we're talking about an episode that features toys. It's surrounds
Meta.
toys.
Yeah.
It's pretty meta, man. So like, do you remember your turtle roster as a kid?
Like the
all
toys that I had?
Yeah.
It's crazy because I probably still have. They're probably in the basement in a bag right now. But I mean, obviously there was the go-to 4 turtles. Had them. I had Splinter. I did never. You know who I never got? April O'Neil. Never once did I get an April O'Neil. I guess you just didn't need to, but just to complete the set, you know.
No action.
Bebop and Rocksteady, Shredder, the original Shredder toy, not like the Super Shredder or anything from the movies, like the OG skinny Shredder toy. He was dope. I had Baxter Stockman, the Fly version, had him. Mondo Gecko, like the roller skating gecko, like
I
hippie.
wanted to get him.
He was dope. Yeah. I actually got him at a birthday. I still remember it because I was like a friend gave it to me as a present. I was like, this is the greatest present somebody's ever given to me.
That's a dope
play. Yeah. And that's really all I needed. There was a couple Mousers, I think, that came with Baxter Stockman because he was a scientist, Steve. So he had those little Mouser robots. Oh, also Rat King.
Rat King. I had Rat King.
Yeah. It got deep, but I'm just talking the ones that I purely played with, like, and also I did have Krang and the whatever he was called, like Master Mold or whatever, like his body,
the big giant robot thing.
Yeah. I had the car, the turtle van that shot pizzas and like the door came out. I had that. I did not get the blimp. I had a rich friend who had the blimp, but it wasn't great, Steve. I got to be honest with you. It was like a balloon that they just hooked like some plastic to. Didn't really tickle my fancy.
Yeah. Could it even fly?
I think it was more of a use your imagination type thing, you know. Just unless you had if you had a helium tank, I bet you could get it to fly. But I don't know how many people just have some helium on lock like that.
You did say the kid was rich.
He was.
He had an indoor pool. That?
Shout out to Brian something in Pennsylvania. You had the coolest indoor pool. It was like literally what I assumed was like the whole thing that Will lived in Fresh Prince of Beverly Hills. Like it was a
Fresh Prince
huge.
of Bel Air.
Yeah, sorry, I'm stoned as hell. It was a huge indoor building with a pool in it, Steve. I'd never seen anything such. I think his dad was a dentist or something, but it was just amazing. You know, it was nice to have some rich friends.
Yeah, tell me about it. And did he have the Technodrome or the
I had a
Technodome?
friend that had that, and again, functionally, it was just like a thing to hold toys. You know, like you could open it up, and there might have been a few like gadgets in there, but it was a lot of plastic, and the payoff wasn't great. But I love the Technodrome, and I think it's one of the coolest names of a vehicle or whatever, and a really cool way for Shredder to get around. How he did
For
it
sure.
under the streets of New York City, absolutely have no idea. I don't remember the schematics, but you know, pretty cool.
I had a Cadillac. I had like a turtle Cadillac. It was purple,
The
and it had
neutrinos thing, the alien flying Cadillac.
maybe that's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah,
I knew it
dude.
was like associated with them,
The
and like
neutrinos, dude. Fucking
you
cool,
can
like hipster alien kids that came to hang out every once in a while.
you can turn the tires inside, and it's supposed to float on water.
Maybe it wasn't. That doesn't say. Maybe it wasn't even. Was that a Ninja Turtles thing?
It was associated with the turtles,
Okay.
and Casey Jones left out him. I
Oh
had
yeah.
him.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah. That's actually one of my favorite characters, period. I think it's more because of the first movie, because that
yeah.
guy pulled it off so well. But yeah, dude, Casey Jones, legend, dude. It's just what I pictured was Eric Lindros, like vigilante Eric Lindros, just out there, just Happy Gilmore in New York City.
In the cartoon, Casey Jones was kind of like a Clint Eastwood like guy.
Yeah, god damn it. Yeah, he did have like a rasp, dude. Not old East, not old racist Eastwood, but like
No,
younger, dirty Harry Eastwood.
leave those turtles alone.
Yeah. Shout out Casey Jones, dude. Just he didn't even have any powers, dude. He just had some sporting goods equipment and, some muscles, and he was ready to go.
Yeah, just stopping by Dick's on his way to a fight. No diddy.
I like turtles. All right.
Hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your new kids on the block and your New York undercover. Cause I like pleasure spike with pain, and music is my aeroplane. It's my aeroplane.
That mother's always spiked with pain.
Hey girl.
Looking in my rearview mirror.
But today, my friend, we're talking all things September 12th. In the 90s, Cowabunga! Starting off in 1990, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is airing Michelangelo Toys Around. While trying to see the new toys at the toy fair, Michelangelo stumbles upon a plot to take over a noted toy company. First time, Matt. Finally.
Just gotta say, the toy guy, it's like if Mr. Duncan from Home Alone 2 was like semi evil, Steve. You know? Turtle doves that kill you.
It's Weasel.
um, yeah, so we get into this. Mikey, right off the bat, he's caught in a little bit of a shenanigan here. He's being chased by some kind of like Tyrannosaurus robot thing. And thank God, because he's about to get killed. It's a nightmare, Steve. He's dreaming about toys.
Waking up by Raphael, and apparently it's the new Tyranno toy. They see this report that April is covering on the new toy fair, and it's not going to be open to the public. And Michelangelo had all his hopes up. He just wanted to see all the new toys. This is like fresh out for the public. And they're like, dude, you can't go to the toy fair. It's not open to the public. Well, luckily, I'm not a public. I'm a turtle.
Dude, you should just go as a toy instead, bro. It'd be better off. Shut up, guys. Shut up. I'm gonna go. And little did we know, Steve, that we saw Raph in a trench coat, the movie. I didn't know they had the ability to disguise themselves so well because cut to the toy fair and it's not open to the public. They got a security line, they got the whole thing. Mikey shows up as some kind of Italian. He looks like Giuseppe the Italian toy maker from 1920. It looks like I don't know. Maybe this is what they look like, Steve.
It's cool, dude. Officer Toy Dude.
Wait a second. Those Italian people don't talk like that. Get over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Jeff down the stairs, man.
But then Mikey's like, well, but then as he's like sort of dejected, he thinks back to what Raph said about going as a toy, and he sees a toy truck over in the warehouse or whatever on the loading docks. And he's like, you know what? Sounds like a great idea. Goes in. We see him get pulled out because he's just stiff as a board. Two guys think he's a toy, Steve. Hey, this toy, does this thing feel heavy to you or something? It's like the size of a full-grown man. What's going on here?
Shout out to Michelangelo for thinking on his toes. They portray him as the dim-witted one, but he actually outsmarts someone on this show.
Well, he's a master of disguise, Steve, like Dana Carvey or, with a Mission Impossible guy. But as he's getting pulled into the toy fair, we see this guy walking around with this really shitty kid. Like
Really?
very Willy Wonka vibes. Like take this kid to the chocolate factory and just chuck him into the river because he's got a lot of demands. His dad's some toy mogul, and the kid's name's Kevin. And his dad, I forget what his dad's name. We'll remember what it is here. I'll figure it out. But he's basically Mr. Duncan from Home Alone 2. Kind of a deadbeat dad. Doesn't really give a shit about his kid. His kid just wants stuff. Conveniently, he runs a toy factory. So, it's probably pretty easy to shut this kid up.
And he's talking to Mr. Weasel, but it's pronounced Weasel.
Yeah.
And he's the guy. Like, I guess he's the mastermind behind all these toys, these fresh release toys. And he wants the turtle. He sees Michelangelo. I want that turtle. I want all these toys, but I really want that turtle.
Weasel's like, what the hell? Also, side note, April's doing a report. She sees Mikey get pulled away here at some point, too. So she's kind of scoping out some weirdness. But, this kid is very Willy Wonka-esque. The chick one, Steve. The one that wanted the golden goose, I think. That one. Veruca. It's like a kid. It's like a boy version of that chick.
Yeah, little brat. And she also sees Michelangelo's turtle com fall out of his, I don't know where it fell out of a shell, maybe.
So I don't know. Don't touch that thing, April.
Yeah, what's this brown stuff on it? And she alerts the rest of the turtles. They're like, oh, yeah, Mikey, he's always leaving his turtle beeper. That Mikey.
You didn't see a baggie of white stuff around that, did you? Because he relapsed, April. Mikey's back out the shit.
Yeah.
So now Mikey's in, Steve. He's in the bag. He's in the toy fair. And he's kind of looking around. He gets to enjoy that for a second. But then he hears these moving guys, Steve. And they're talking about putting microchips and dino toys and some bad stuff. These moving guys, it's not all fun and games like the Happy Gilmore moving guys. These guys, they're into some dirt.
And again, they have the typical flunky voices of 90s cartoon characters. I think we're going to reprogram them.
Yeah. Hey, boss. We got them, boss. Yeah. All right, dude. They're still in the truck. They're driving. So the other turtles are in on this. And they see, somehow they get in the road. They're driving around. They try to just get out of the thing and flag down this van. Almost kills one of them. I think it's Leo. He almost takes one to the chops, Steve.
That's another one of those turtle toys. And then they just run right through the pizza van. How dare you? They got pizzas to throw.
I mean, it's a hit and run too. They spin that shit around, Steve. There's definitely some damage done to the driver's side of the car. I'm going to need some insurance papers, fellas.
And Tyler, that's the guy's name. His last name is Tyler, Mr. Tyler. And Tyler Toys, the van, they make it to the estate and they drop Mikey off. And once he gets into the estate, he realizes that his turtle com is missing. He's like, "Oh, no big deal. The guys will just find me. I'm gonna play with these toys."
Hey man, this place is gnarly. What's in this room? What is this? Is this a sex swing?
It's pretty gnarly. Cowabunga. And while this is happening, like April, she gives the turtles the whole rundown on Wilbert Weasel. Apparently, he has a reputation. So Dwayne and Maurice, they report back to Mr. Weasel and tell them that they reprogrammed all the toys. Now the turtles, they see this and they surprise them like, "Hey, we heard that shit. Hold up. What y'all got going on?
Man, what is that?
This some bullshit."
That ain't a toy. That thing has lasers in it and shit. Man, hurt somebody. And he's like, it's Weasel. I heard that joke too much. And also, okay, shocker, he's the bad guy, Steve. He looks as much like Master Splinter as Master Splinter does. But so the turtles are sort of fighting the fight. They're doing some damage here, but these dino toys, Dick Cheney might have designed these things. These are some like Raytheon toys.
Dude. And the little brat kid, he sees that Michelangelo is just not a regular toy. It's like, "Oh, you're not a toy. Oh, you know what? You're stupid. I don't like you. I'm gonna have my dad get you out my house." Well, and then he tries to turn on like the toys against Michelangelo. He's like, "Man, fuck this shit. I'm gonna break all your toys. You keep fucking with me."
Hey,
And
give
then
me that
like,
Nintendo
you know what?
controller, little bitch.
You're like those Ninja Turtles. You're actually pretty cool. You can stay. Don't leave. See, you're gonna stay, right?
You're a real life Ninja Turtle. My dad can pay for you. I'm gonna buy you. Like, no, that's not cool, bro. You can't buy me, little bro. Well, Mikey's just stuck in the mansion. So we cut back to the toy fair. The turtles are fighting. The henchmen, the two douche henchmen, it literally takes nothing to get past these guys. Hire some better henchmen.
Yeah.
But Weasel, he's got access to like a crane, and somehow it's connected to a net, so he nets up the turtles. It's pretty easy peasy, honestly.
Yeah, he catches them in a trap and they get lowered into the crane. But Mr. Tyler, he pops up. He's like, "Man, cut this shit out, man. Like, this is on my time. This is on my watch. I don't pay you to be playing with some crane."
Why the
And
hell is there a fucking crane at the toy fair? I didn't pay for this. It's
Yeah.
Weasel, Mr. Tyler. Anyway, let me go get these women I have tied up in the basement. I'll get out of here. I'll get out of your hair.
Matter of fact, I need you to go back to my estate and take care of some things. Take care of these Tyranno toys.
Yeah, take them shits out of there. My kid's got some stinky ass sewer turtle thing out. Take it out too. Cut back to the mansion. Now Michelangelo and this little douche kid are having a great time. Michelangelo's teaching about the magic of pizza. This kid's rich. You never had pizza. What are you eating? Is your dad, is Mr. Turtle Doves giving you like gruel or something? Like, what the hell?
He doesn't even know how to do that. That's the thing about rich kids. They can't even wipe their ass right. Like this dude, all you had to do was heat it up in the oven. That shit came out uncooked and undone.
Yeah, dude. Michelangelo is just seconds away from whacking that kid with a chuck. You know that. He's just like,
How dare you?
Master Splitter told you to be better, dude. Don't do it. But as they're doing that and connecting, the two henchmen walk in, and the kid threatens the henchman. Now he's like, "Dude, I'm gonna tell my dad and get you fired, you pieces of shit. He'll buy you too." This kid's a monster, Steve. He's threatening to buy everybody.
Do you know who my dad is? He's that guy.
My dad will get your dad fired. Okay, my dad's dead, kid. I'm a henchman. Oh, so sorry, sir. Cut back to the turtles who are now in a net, Steve. They're at a toy fair caught in a net. Raphael pulls a G move and just like flicks a sigh in the perfect spot to just release everything. I don't know how he figured it out, but maybe it's just ninjutsu skills. It's fantastic.
Ninja tactics, man. And Now the flunkies, they're chasing after the kid and Michelangelo, and Mr. Tyler, he shows up back home, and it's hilarious how he shows no emotion because he fires the flunkies, Dwayne and Maurice, and then they just put him in a little rope, a little noose or whatever, and he's like,
I'll get out of this. I'm rich. It
"How do you know
always,
I don't like this?"
yeah. This is a Tuesday night for me, guys. Anywho, the petroleum jellies in the closet. Um, the turtles show up. There's Tyranno toys everywhere, Steve. This guy's making them. They're all chipped out. They're chipped up. They're draped up and dripped out. They're shooting lasers, and now it's an all-out toy war. But also, Steve, this kid has a whole army of toys. So this almost turns into that movie with Robin Williams, Toys, where it's almost like a serious war going on, but it's like X-Men toys and like little, RC cars and shit.
It's the Revenge of Toy Story kind of deal, man. Like, because Weasel arrives and like all this is going on, and now the Tyrannotoys they're shooting lasers out their chest.
This isn't what I designed. They were supposed to shoot glitter out of their chests. But luckily, Steve, Mr. Tyler isn't just a toy mega mogul. He also can design stuff. He's going to design a different controller so that they can regain control of these completely bamboozled dino toys. So they get in the lab, Steve. Tyler's got some loose wires. He's got a video game controller, and a couple of screws later, he's got a thing that's gonna control. It's just a problem solver, really.
Yeah. Well, they save the dad, and again, he's just sitting there emotionless. They're like, man, like you guys really could have waited. I was starting to actually get into it. But yeah, he gives them the remote that can overpower anything that Weasel does. And not only that,
Anything.
like it can manipulate those Tyranno toys. So they stop as they're approaching the turtles, they turn around and then they start attacking Weasel and his henchmen.
Man, Weasel, get off the floor, man. Ah! That dino toy got my neck and my back.
And Mr. Tyler goes straight pinky mode. Weasel, is this your cousin? Good. It's both of y'all fine.
Say again. Say something else. Yeah, so Weasel, he's out of job. Whatever his weird plan was to take over the toy fair with these killer toys, like what was going to happen after that? What was the end game? I didn't understand. Like he just was like little bit of mayhem at the toy fair. They shouldn't have fucking canceled my toy. Oh, Susie Squirt doll. That wasn't a good idea, guys. Sorry, marketing department. Figure it out.
Yeah, Susie Squirt toy. I'm gonna have her shoot cum out of her dress. Yeah.
Mr. Weasel, get out of here. This is illegal and unethical. So he's out of job. He's out of the toy business forever. He might be able to like open a strip club. Looking at him, he's got some sort of future there. Like maybe as like some kind of like OnlyFans pimp. I don't know, something weird. But
something with toys.
Yeah, but now Mr. And this is what I love about this cartoon watching it as an adult. There are people that have no idea that the turtles exist, right? Like Mr. Tyler, he's out there selling toys. He's out there designing controllers and, traveling the world on toy money. He had no idea there were living, breathing Ninja Turtles that could talk and, interact with. He's not fazed by that either. He's just like, hey guys, thanks for the solid. You can come back anytime. So the turtles have an open invitation to a mansion. I'd be using that a lot. And everything's cool. Everything's cool in the gang. And for somebody who didn't know at the beginning of that day that there were life-size turtles that were as intelligent as human beings walking around with perfect ninja skills, he's handling it great, Steve. And maybe Steve, this is a meta thing where he's the guy that he's Eastman and Laird. He saw Ninja Turtles in the real world and was like, that would be a great toy. Meta. See what I'm
Maybe that's
saying?
damn.
Flowed. Yeah.
That just blew my mind.
Well, it blew my mind too because I just bullshitted that, just trying to think of something to say about the episode. But I do think that's pretty accurate, Steve. Maybe it was a meta critique of the Ninja Turtles and just like, a nice little fun story for all of us turtle heads out there, our shell heads.
There we go. And this is one of the few episodes that didn't include Splinter or Shredder.
Sometimes it's all about the toys, Steve. And I gotta say, Ninja Turtles 2, the movie, I think they stole a few things out of this episode. Them acting like toys. Donatello does that in the beginning of the movie to fool some
Does.
henchmen. Getting caught up in a net and dragged to their certain demise. That happens in the movie in the mid part where they go to save Raphael from the Foot Clan junkyard lair. So, you know what, guys? I think I figured it out. You guys are plagiarizing the script.
You heard it here on Happen in the 90s.
I like turtles.
In that following year, Chris Von Erich, American wrestler, would commit suicide at the age of 22, born in 1969. And he is the youngest brother, literally the little brother of the group because he was 5'5", 175 pounds. And that's what made him so frustrated because being the little brother, he wanted to impress his big brothers. He wanted to impress his father, this legendary Fritz Von Erich, Texas. And it just never came to fruition. He couldn't be that big star that his older brothers were. And just prior to him committing suicide, he was talking to the lone survivor, Kevin. He wanted to get his VCR back from him that Kevin had borrowed, and he saw that he was down and out, and so he had a talk with him. And Chris told him about his suicidal thoughts. He was like, "Hey, man, don't do that. Talk to me." And Chris promised him that he wouldn't do that. Shortly after Kevin left, that's when he pulled the trigger.
Was that brother in Iron Claw, the movie?
They were all represented, but when I read Chris's wiki, it said that there was a combination because they have to condense it.
Yeah.
Like Chris was represented by like 2
Oh, okay. I got you.
or
Got
something
you.
like that.
Man, it's
Yeah.
a wild, like a tragic story of those about like the whole
Yeah,
thing. I
bro.
mean, that's why they made a movie about it, but that's wild, dude.
Yeah, man. R.I.P. That following year, Saved by the Bell is airing season 4, episode 1, The Fight. Senior year begins, but quickly turns out sour when Zack and Slater clash over the new girl at school.
The new girl. Hotties. Senior year, Steve. Hottie alert.
That is questionable.
Yeah. Well, it's senior year, Steve. And you know what that means. Time to mess with the freshmen. Yeah. So Zack and Slater, they're pulling this whole thing with like hall passes and selling them to freshmen. And they get this one freshman who looks to be at least 45 years old. Yeah. I know he might be a TA, but it's all gravy, Steve. It's senior year. This is a cakewalk. We're just tiptoeing our way to freedom here. And Slater and Zack, they're having fun,
Yeah, man. You don't have any more algebra. And I remember being a senior. It's kind of like whatever you say goes. You rule for a year. And apparently there's a senior dance coming up. They always have these dances throughout the year in Bayside. And Zack nor Slater have found a date yet. And they're talking about how Mr. Belding, he won't even be in attendance, so that's cool. We might be able to fuck in the bathroom. We might be able to get it in on the dance floor. Ain't no parents gonna be around.
No,
But
no supervision, Steve. Come on, what is this? It's a
we know that's a
Weinstein
lie.
bar. Yeah, exactly. This ain't a P Diddy party, guys. You could do, and it's at the max, which we find out later. So I don't know what you guys think was gonna happen, but they're getting ready to finger blast somebody, Steve.
Oh, somebody's getting finger jammed. And speaking of the belt dog, he shows up with this mop
What's
on his
the
top.
deal with principles? He just looks like an 80s like fucking cruise ship comic. And I don't like to even call what he has on a toupee is a disservice to toupees, Steve. I don't know what this is. It appears to be a dead animal that has mulletized on his head.
And the kids are gassing him up. Like, Mr. Belding, you look so different. Did you lose weight? You gotten taller. Man, I see you got the guns out. Yeah, okay. I see you killing it.
Did you get your teeth whitened? There's something different. I can't put my finger on it, but yeah, he looks like he's got cocaine in his pocket. Let's put it like that. He's got something that's gonna put
Studio
you up.
54 plug.
Yeah. Even maybe he trimmed his nose hairs. Doesn't somebody say that? Isn't that what Screech says?
Screech.
Yeah, Screech.
Of course.
Yeah. But so everybody's having a good time. Again, senior year, bro. We're all chopping it up. Even Belding doesn't give a shit anymore. We're all just having a great time. And then Zach, he's like, I'm gonna go get some out of my locker. And as he's doing that, hello, little hottie alert.
Mom jeans.
I mean, is this a MILF porn or what's going on here? Because this is a new beautiful face at Bayside, and Zach's ready to meet some new people, dude.
He's always down for the cause. And they strike up a conversation, and her name is Joanna. They make it real brief. And then we cut to the next scene. And Slater, he has his science class. They have the same class, him and Joanna. And they don't think they're going to have any work to do because Miss Taylor, she never gives out work.
Like, it's fine. You got to go to your little assembly. It's fine. But then this Nazi guy comes in. He's like, look, there's going to be a test right now. Everyone pencils out. Take your shoes off. Like, wait, what?
And you sit down when you pee.
Yeah, give me that fruit cup, little fish. And so, this is basically our experience with like weather and climate, Steve.
He's definitely Art Samo.
You think that this is a cakewalk class. You're like, what are we going to talk about? Fucking thunder, lightning? Okay, I got it. We're good. But no.
Clouds and shit? Yeah.
But Slater's good. He's good about something else, Steve. He wants to hear some other kind of raindrops.
And Zach, he thinking everything is cool in the game. Like, he's just like, hey, let the party begin. They're like, no, dude, no. And then he turns around. He's like, Miss Taylor, you changed.
Zach! Yeah, it's not going to be good. You guys might not even make it out of Bayside. You better shape up or ship out. And then after that, we cut to the hallway, and the girls are hanging out. They're dishing, having a little tease session, and Lisa looks over and she's like, "Ooh, who is that little hunk over there?" She goes over, meets Darren, new little tenderoni for Lisa, and they just hit it off, Steve. They arrange a date. She's all happy. She's fucking loving it, and rightfully so. She's a beautiful lady about town.
Another lie that Saved by the Bell sold to me. The ease of it all. Like a pretty girl just walks up to your locker. Hey, new guy in town in the school. Senior dance is coming up this weekend. You want to go? Oh, sure. So, since we're friends now, you want to go to the movies too? Huh, sure. Huh, yeah. So since we're doing that, can I take you back home and fuck? Oh, yeah, sure.
Let me make you some cookies also. Like, okay.
Yeah,
man,
sure.
Is this a hostile situation? Am I going to get my fucking leg chopped off? I don't know. But yeah, it's all green lights for Darren, Steve. He's the new hunk of Bayside. Little young honey for Lisa to hang out with. But, it's all gravy. It's going to happen, Steve. We'll come back to that. Yeah, Zack and Slater. Right?
Yeah, they're dishing about this new girl that they met. And Zach is like, man, my girl makes Madonna look like Bart Simpson. I'm like, bro, fast forward 2024, Madonna makes Madonna look like Bart Simpson.
And Slater's like, 36, 24, 36. Haha, that's this chick. But they're not sharing names. They're just like, dude, first day, I already got a new chick. I can't wait for you to see this chick. Guys, it's like, how many times are these guys going to cross each other for a bitch, Steve? I'm sorry. Excuse me, a lady.
Like, my thing is this, like, what happened over the summer? Like, weren't you with Jesse, bro? Zach, weren't you always with Kelly?
Man, that's all
What's-
good, man. Like they're gonna be there, but this is some other thing, man. Shh.
They want some new
Steve,
strain.
shh. Word isn't gonna. People don't talk, Steve. It's fine. Anyway, we go to the Max, and we know where everybody sits at the Max. Steve, there's assigned seating at the Max, but apparently these freshman guys they didn't get the memo. So the real crew steps up to their table like, "Hey, freshmen, beat it." And even Screech is like, "Peasants, get out." He says something, but even I forget who's what, like Zach or somebody's like, "There," it's even Screech is getting it on these kids, Steve. I don't understand it.
That's the kind of clout seniors had, though.
Yeah, you're right. We were scared of seniors when we were freshmen. But this
I
senior's got a fucking tax attorney, it looks like. He's not a freshman.
He is a tax attorney.
Yeah, he definitely can definitely help him get a couple of expenses on that W-2. But the guy that Lisa's been talking to, Darren, she meets him, finds out he's a freshman, Steve. She's like, "Wait, you're a freshman?" I can't even.
Yeah. And Joanna, she comes in, and Zack and Slater, they're sitting at their booth, and he's like, "Hey, Preppy, there she is. She's the girl I've been telling you about." No, dude, she's the girl I've been telling you about.
Man, I told you, big ass titties.
Man, mom jeans.
White, big ass titties. I mean, what are we talking here?
Have you asked her out yet? No. And then they do a mad dash, and they hurry up and just rattle everything off they need to say to Joanna.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
there's just like,
this bitch is overwhelmed, Steve. I'm a Christian and I'm waiting till marriage. So, do you guys want to study the Bible with me, or?
I need time. This is way too much.
Yeah, dude,
And
it's crazy. But Zach, in the hullabaloo, Zach shows the slickness because they sit down next to him. But Zach, yeah, kicks the seat out from under Slater, making him look like a fool, making him feel just silly inside. And he's like, "Hey, Slater, sit much." This
yeah,
guy, he loves being dumb. Anywho, titties, what's up?
he's stupid, right?
It's tough to respect a guy like that. He sits on the floor. It's kind of where he belongs. Am I right?
Yeah, he doesn't even know how to sit. They don't even give her time to think. She just said, "Leave me time to think about it." So they're both sitting next to her at science class in the next scene, and she can't even focus. The teacher asks her a question, and she's just like, "Well, wait, what?" I,
And Zach's
uh,
like, E equals MC squared. they're trying to help out, Steve. And then Slater gives his advice. It's dueling dicks, Steve. Who's gonna win?
and Mr. Breston, he's just like, "You know what? All three of y'all, extra homework." He's like, "Damn, man. You know what, Joanna? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I caused us to get more homework. You want to come by and study with me?" And then Slater chimes in. He's like, "Well, I know you're gonna be staying up all night studying. So you want to go to the movies with me the next day, tomorrow?"
Sure to everything. I don't have a life. Let's do this.
I just got here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like after the class, Kelly and Jesse, they try to talk to Lisa and tell her about Darren the Frosh. And right when they're about to, Darren pops up, is like, "Hey, Lisa, we want to go talk in the hallway before the next class?"
So she's like, "Isn't he so hot and mature?" I'm like, Lisa. Wait, isn't this where they tell? Like, and isn't this in the locker room, Steve?
Well, they're about to tell her in the classroom, and then Darren,
Okay.
yeah, Darren pops up, and then so that interrupts that. But then they head to the locker room in the next scene,
Yeah.
and Lisa comes in like, "You won't believe this. Apparently, there's a senior girl who's taking the freshman out to the senior dance. I hate to be that bitch."
What a
Well,
dumbass.
yeah, she's stupid as hell. I can't tell her. Tell her, Jesse. Well, Lisa, let me tell you. Let's just say Darren is 2 years removed from getting his license.
What's that
Huh?
mean? Math? 5 minutes later, it hits her, Steve. Darren's a freshman. No! You're the loser, Lisa. You're the loser, Lisa.
It's like the Martin.
No! Yeah. But, we got to get away from that and get back to Zack and Joanna. And Zack and Joanna are at Zack's. Nice little study date, Steve. A nice little situation he's got. They're not even on the bed. They're just lounging, talking, having a great time. And, coincidentally, Slater realized while they, at some point in the day, he owes Zack $20, but he doesn't have the 20. So he decided just to randomly come over and just work it off.
Yeah. So he returns to the bedroom with a vacuum. He's working on the carpet and he ends up like getting his homework stuck in there.
Man,
He's
what
like,
kind
dude,
of vacuum was that, Steve? What kind of
we're like a leaf blower.
It's like it was a leaf blower, I think, but it went from blow to suck. Even it sucked the goddamn paper up. Which,
Shit.
I mean, Zach's not doing any homework. What did he suck up that Zach got all up in arms about it? Be like the blank paper you're trying to fake his homework, Zach? Come on.
But it had all the answers, apparently. That was like his cheat sheet. Zach sends him to the basement. Like, man, get the fuck away from us, bro. Like, we studying. And so Slater,
man, get out of here. You stink, man. Get out of here. Yeah.
Like wrestling practice. Shit.
Man, did you even check? It's crazy with this guy. Zach just keeps playing him. He's like, this guy even smells. It's like, I'm trying to help him out. This guy's
Smell like nuts.
Yeah, this guy's a loser, right? Am I right, Joanna? I mean, it's fucking level with me here.
But it works against them because Slater puts on this pity face like, oh, okay. And then Joanne's just like, no, you can come and study with us. Zach's just like, man, fuck Slater.
Hold on, I gotta go to the bathroom for like 5 minutes. All right, gotta work off this Rhino XL pill I ate for no reason. Slater, thanks a lot. Possible three-way though, Steve. That's kind of what I'm envisioning in this whole thing. Like it's gonna turn into almost like a chasing Amy, where it all works out at the end. But then we cut to the theater, Steve, and Slater's on his date. It's his turn now with this woman. He's earned it. You got the puppy dog guys. They're waiting for Terminator to come on. Terminator 2, possibly, I guess, given the year. And people just keep fucking with Slater and the vibe. First, Screech, who is an usher at this theater, but I mean, what an old-fashioned usher, the Screech. Was he from like the 30s, Steve? I mean, good Lord.
You're about to watch Three Stooges? What the fuck?
Popcorn, cigarettes, popcorn. But Screech is like, look, guys, I'll be watching you. And I'll be touching myself if anything gets a little bit handsy. So just know that. And Slater, chill out. We see Screech go in the back, and this is where I love Zach. Zach is he's a CIA asset in the future, Steve. This guy's playing 5D chess with people. He gives Screech, he's hanging out with Screech, then he gives a 20 or so, a 20 spot to just some woman, Steve. He found a woman that just has no time or has all the time in the world. He's like, look, I got a friend I need you to fuck with. Go and act like his mom. And just go interrupt that little date going on. So he's got a random woman in here just playing Slater's mom, Steve.
Well, they're in Los Angeles, so she's probably like a dinner theater actress. You know, it's like just found her like outside at the Walk of Fame or something. Like, hey, you need some work, some quick work?
She's just a B-rate porn actress. Hey, come on. How much do you get paid? I'll pay you $10 more to not suck a dick. Come on, let's go. Okay, and so this chick's acting like Slater's mom. So she's like, Slater, this is our, makes up this whole story. Slater's looking like a douche in front of Joanna. And it like, this woman's such a good actress, whatever she does, that she ends up sitting in between Slater and the chick. So now Zach, he's just is launching nuclear bombs over the hills, Steve. You can't even see him, and he's affecting this. You know what I'm saying?
He stays winning with his trash ass. And like Joanna, she actually offers Mrs. Slater her seat because she's so repulsed. She doesn't even want to sit next to Slater. Like, how dare you? On your mom's birthday, too? You just completely ignore her and act like you don't know her. So Zack, once again, is winning. So Slater, the next day of school, he's got smoke for Zack. He's like, dude, what's up with that whole act that you put on, man? I knew you were up to that. I turned around and I saw you giving me the thumbs up. You thought that shit was funny? Well, shit. You treated me like trash. Well, maybe that's what you are. Ooh.
Maybe you should step the fuck back before I bitch slap your fucking hiney. And it comes to blows, Steve. Fuck a
So
dance
comical.
off, fuck a goddamn, fuck whatever. It's on. It's now. It's paws are being thrown, Steve.
This is probably one of my least favorite episodes, man, because of this fight. It's 92. We just saw the Rockers get broken up in January. Sean throwing Marty through the barbershop window. Now this? My 9-year-old brain just couldn't take it.
And then Belding Seinfeld shows up to break it up. What's the deal, guys?
You guys.
So cut to his office, and Belding, Beld Dog or whatever he's called himself now, the Beldmeister. He's trying to level with these guys. He's like, look, guys, what would do this? What would get in between two guys that I know are just such good friends? Wait a second. It's about a chick, isn't it? And they're like, maybe. He gets them to shake hands as a Beldmeister will. And he's like, look, guys, party on, live your life, go get them, Belding out. And he just, pieces out. But you can tell it's still tense.
And so they make it back to the hallway, and Darren, he's grilling Lisa because he was at the theater too. He was waiting on Lisa, and she's not answering her phone calls, not returning phone calls, and she never showed up for their date at the movies. So Lisa was just like, look, I can't date you because you're a freshman. I mean, it just wouldn't be right. You understand, right? Well, no, I guess not, because I'm an immature freshman.
Bitch. Why is people ageist and shit?
Oh,
These motherfuckers, man. So Darren, he's got it. He's tense. He's not feeling it. And Zack and Slater approach Joanna and they're like, look, bitch, enough's enough. We both got black eyes. I got a fat lip. Who you got? Which one you want? She's like, I don't want either of you. You ruined my first week here. I failed a test because you studied with me, and I don't even like. I got an F, Zach. I'm
and
failing.
my insides are sore. Thanks.
Yeah. So be gone, and she's out. So they're going stag to this senior party lock-in thing at the Max, which we cut to, and it's kicking, Steve. Sure, there's some finger banging, some blasting going on, maybe a couple of heavy makeout sessions, a little 7 minutes in heaven, if you will, going on in the back. Max somewhere creepily doing close-up magic and just like staring through some, he's peeping on somebody. I don't like that. Hey, watch this pill disappear in that drink. What?
And Lisa, she actually shows up with Darren. She came to her senses, like, you know what? I was being a piece of shit. He can't help it that he was born 4 years after me. So Darren's just like, but what are your friends going to think? What if everyone stares at us? Let them stare, because you are my date. Ooh.
Darren and Lisa sitting in a tree. She gonna suck on his DIC. Okay. It didn't work out. I thought I perfected it. But yeah, so
They would see.
and Zach shows up and he's playing it cool. He's like, yeah, just check it out, see what the vibe is. He sees Slater, shit's tense. Slater's like, hey, everybody, just wanted to wish everybody a great senior year, and guess I'm gonna go sit someplace else because it smells over here like some Bullshit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go have a drink over here. And then Zach, he goes back to the punch bowl to get a drink right when Slater goes to the punch bowl and get a drink. And they're fighting over the ladle.
I
And
like
Slater's
how
just like,
Slater, like, he just goes up. Zach is getting a drink. Slater goes and just grabs the ladle. Like, dude, you know I was getting a fucking drink, bro. Come
yeah, you could have
on.
waited, but you wanted some smoke. You
Yeah.
you you wanted the fisticuffs to happen. And he tells him, like, man, you better let that go or you're gonna be wearing this punch.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. Well, how about this? Like this? No, like this. And then when Zach puts it down his shirt or whatever, I never forget the little like MJ action he does, like the little that
Yeah.
was slick. He does the little Slater's a bad motherfucker, man.
Dude, he can pop and lock. And he throws a ladle of punch down Zach's pants. And then it's about to come to blows. He's like, you know what? Screw it. Belding gets in the mix again, Beldmeister, because he came. You know, like, he gets shamed at some point for just showing up. But then as he's like breaking it up, the wig comes off, Steve. Whatever this thing was, whatever you want to call it, it comes off. And instantly the tension fades. They're laughing. They're like, do you see this fucking guy? This guy never gets pussy. Look at him. He's pathetic. Belding's like, hey guys, that hurts. Glad you're back together, but that hurt. That cut deep. Okay.
Yeah.
And where's my wig at? That thing, Morty's wigs. That was a $200 item. So
I couldn't wait to show it off to you guys. And then you laugh at me. Damn. And once again, Belding, man, like the kids need Belding. Belding needs the kids. He was there for the kids, even in a indirect way. He saved the day. So shout out to Bell Dog.
Belding loves the kids.
But they never fought over Kelly. I just never like they would go through these little antics and little pranks on each other. They never came to blows for Kelly. This girl spends one day at Bayside. I guess just the testosterone had built now that they're seniors. They got more of that in their scrotum. Like, yeah. And they just didn't know how to control it, but like way finer than Joanna.
In my head, here's what it was, Steve. Slater's secretly resentful that Zach's got the hottest chick in Bayside. So he's like, dude, what do you got to have every hot chick? You left me with damn Jesse Spano. So I got to take 45 minutes of an ear beating about God knows what before she's even halfway near my like upper thigh. You got Kelly good to go Kapowski. All you got to do is sit on a picnic table. She's blowing you outside of the fucking gym during a dance. So can I get something?
Dude.
Stop hogging it all for yourself, Zach. But Zach's, he's a spoiled rich kid. You know what I'm saying? He's got the phone. He's got the ability to buy people to use as puppets in his little games. And I love that. So is he trash? Absolutely. But
He still is, yeah.
some fucking fantastic trash, dude.
Yeah, man. He does have an end game. But on that same day in 92, Teamster Boss, the Jackie Presser story, debuts on HBO. For a generation, the mob's main money machine was the Teamsters Union. When Jimmy Hoffa disappeared, the fight was on to see who could follow him. Jackie Presser was the son of a longtime union board member, and when he retired, Jackie was elevated to one of the most powerful positions in the country, president of the Teamsters Union. Directed by Alistair Reed, starring Brian Dennehy, Jeff Daniels, Maria Conchita, Alonzo, and Eli Wallach.
Never saw it, Steve. Not a Teamster guy. Not a Teamster guy. So what are we talking here? This is just like Gotti, but
More Hoffa.
wow. Okay,
I mean,
okay, sorry.
Yeah, Gotti, they did make a movie that came out, I think, that same year, 92. But this is a personal interest because Jackie Presser was a real person. This is based on a true story. And he was the head of the Teamsters Union in Cleveland. And I knew that there were mafia ties in Ohio, like a lot of the Midwest. If you talk about Chicago, that's where Scarface and all of that stuff was going on. But yeah, that was interesting, man, because this actually happened during our lifetime. Jackie Presser was the head of the Teamsters Union in the 80s. And his father, he was respected, And he, as he's getting older, he passes it on to his son. So there was an uproar about that because of nepotism, and you know how that is. He didn't pay his dues, and you're just, he's a daddy's boy and all of that, man. And he had ties to the mafia.
Ohio proud too. So I love
Yeah.
that. But I mean, that makes sense, dude. In Ohio, we got I-75. We got a lot of big roads. There's probably a lot of highways that they're dealing dirt in. But Jackie Presser, I didn't know. Wasn't aware.
And Brian Dennehy, man, R.I.P. Man, he did a great job. And our guy, man, Jeff Daniels, he was in it too. And Jeff Daniels is like, he plays the cop that's kind of on the case and like just keeping a close eye on what's going on between the mafia and the union.
Presser. Well,
But
that's I guess that's kind of like, to me, the boring mob stuff. When it gets into the Teamsters shit, I know they were doing like criminal dirt and stuff, but that whole Hoffa thing, other than just being blatantly criminal in the face of the cops, it just always felt like boring to me almost. It's like, okay, you guys are unioned up.
hey, fighting for the common man. That same day in 92, The Addams Family debuts on ABC. It would last 2 seasons and 21 episodes, and they piggybacked on the success of the movie, which had already came out, the first Addams Family. This is the voice actors included John Astin, the OG Gomez, which I thought was cool, and I didn't realize John Astin did quite a few projects in voice acting. And I found it interesting that Rip Taylor was the voice of Uncle Fester. So that's worth a watch just for that.
Rip Taylor or Rip Torn?
Rip Taylor. If it was Rip Torn, yeah.
Oh my God. I'm Uncle Fester. Oh my God. It's a weird take. No, I remember this cartoon. There's a couple of these that were like all piggybacking off of movie properties like this and the Beetlejuice cartoon. Both of them were solid. It was like solid afternoon watch when you had nothing else going on. Maybe a pre-Saturday morning lineup cartoon,
Yeah, and it served its purpose because I do remember watching it a couple times as a kid. That same day in 1992, Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa debuts on ABC, and that would last 2 seasons, 26 episodes. In the 1800s, a comet hits the United States Southwest, transforming the local cattle and animals into their own version of the Old West called Moo Mesa, complete with several lawmen dealing with bizarre outlaws.
Yeah. I had these toys for sure.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at this because I was like, I remember this. I don't remember the show that much, but it had some badass like looking toys, and it was just kind of cool looking. This is a wacky story, obviously, but
Yeah.
if you look it up, yeah, the cow, like the actual cowboys, they look pretty dope.
Yeah, they were like muscular cowboys that played country tunes on the banjo and shit. And I think they were kind of taking some of the Turtles formula, like we'll take some animals and we'll just figure out some kind of theory as to how they can talk and like walk the earth on 2 feet now.
Joe Piscopo also did a voice in this show, so just a little weird side note.
That's beautiful.
Yep, Sheriff Terror Bull.
I love
nice. I see the wordplay there. I like that too. See, we might need to go check this out, Steve. Yeah, check this out though, because it definitely is one of these. Like, it's like remember sewer sharks? I think it was like these weird like animal like
street sharks.
Street sharks. That's what it was. Yeah, like very anthropomorphized animals, like superhero type things. It's pretty cool.
And on that same day in 92, California Dreams debuts on NBC. Would last 5 seasons, 78 episodes. And, I would catch a couple episodes. I felt like this was Saved by the Bell light. Didn't have that same kind of chemistry.
It rings bells, but I never watched this for sure. I remember this being a thing though, for sure. But yeah, it's like it didn't really pop off, even though it made it 5 seasons.
5 seasons, you won, man. I mean, you're into syndication territory, and I did appreciate the diverse casting. They wanted to replicate the diversity of California, so they had a black guy in the band. They had an Asian girl. I think they were dating, and I think the girl to the left of me, it was a Hispanic girl. So they wanted to represent that, and apparently Fergie was in an episode of this show at one point.
Look at that chin ass on the one guy behind your head. That guy's got an ass chin like the other guy, other way. Look at that guy.
Yeah.
Looks like Ted from
Yeah.
Hey Dude a little bit, but if somebody just like jacked his chin up a little, it's like it's a Jim Carrey, Me, Myself, and Irene.
I could see that. Powdered Toast Man. And then also, Eek the Cat debuts on Fox in '92. The comical misadventures of Eek, a kind-hearted anthropomorphic purple cat who finds himself in constant moral danger while trying to help others. 5 seasons, again, 75 episodes.
This is a good cartoon. I definitely checked this out for a while. This was a Saturday morning joint.
It was, man. Unfortunately, I didn't check for it when it was coming out, but I'm looking at the voice acting, and it's impeccable, man. Dan Castellaneta from The Simpsons. You had Corey Feldman, even. You had Brad Garrett, Gary Owens, and Kurtwood Smith, Red Foreman.
Damn. Okay, it's even better than I knew. I didn't know all those hitters. I didn't know Feld Dog was in it either. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Eek the Cat. Yeah.
I love when Feld Dog gets some work, man. Keep him employed, damn it.
We got to go to a Corey Feldman concert, Steve. We got to see it. We got to see the Majesty live.
I would love to, man. Somebody who probably didn't see any of this in 1992 is probably American actor, singer, and director Anthony Perkins. He passes away at the age of 60 from HIV.
Oh, that's.
The
I was
original
gonna say.
Psycho.
I was gonna say Anthony Perkins. Why do I know that name? Yeah. Okay. Damn, he died of
Yeah, man.
HIV.
Yeah, man, he was a closeted homosexual, and his prominence, his prime was at a time where you kind of kept that stuff under the rug. Like if he was alive this day and age, oh my God, they'd shoot him through the moon. Like they Tyler Perry be, hey man, get that Perkins guy on the phone.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, he was a huge deal for a long. Obviously, because he was in Psycho and stuff, but other stuff too. And yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know that was what happened.
Yeah, man. R.I.P. In that following year, Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman debuts. In addition to fighting evil, Superman has a burning romance with Lois Lane in both of his identities. 4 seasons, 88 episodes.
All I remember is my grandma weirdly loved this show. Like I've only seen a few episodes because of that, but it did have what's her face in it. Lois was hot. I remember that, be having a crush on her. I think she was like a very famous chick too, wasn't it? One of the Desperate Housewives.
Terry Hatcher.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's the guy's name? What's Superman's name?
Dean Cain.
Dean Cain. Yeah, okay.
The what is it? The superintendent or the dean of How High?
Oh yeah, it was Dean Cain. This was like a superhero show for old people. I think it was even on CBS. Did you say that?
No, I think it might have been ABC. Let
Maybe
me
you're
check.
right, but I don't know. This was like a
Yeah.
subpar show. Superman's never been my favorite, but this was just I pass on this one. I do like me some
Yeah.
Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher though.
Terry Hatcher's hot. Yeah, like you'd have to be a Superman purist to really get into this, man, for all 88 episodes. Available on Max. But that following year, Party of 5 debuts on Fox. 5 siblings raise each other following their parents' untimely deaths. 6 seasons, 142 episodes.
Nev Campbell?
Nev Campbell, man. And she was roommates with Tara Strong, who would, I think a lot of her fame is from her voice acting. She does a lot of work with Nickelodeon. But Tara Strong, she auditioned for the role and it would ultimately go to Nev Campbell. Now, I never watched this show, but I fucks with Nev Campbell. You could call her one of the queens of Scream. No pun intended.
Yeah. A little confusing because she was in Scream, but she is a Scream queen. So just in
Scream
general. Yeah, dude, I love me some Nev Campbell. I have a lot of she was one of my first crushes because I love Scream. Then came a little movie called Wild Things that
Right.
and definitely had my attention there. But she's just kind of I don't know how to say it. She's just like she's good at there's nothing like stand out to me about Nev Campbell, but there's just something about her, Steve.
Girl next door look, and I think she's got that chisel tooth. There's something about that little chisel tooth of her that makes her sexier to me.
I just always remember her line read in Wild Things where somebody tries to like stop her from walking away and she turns around and is like, "Don't touch me." It's very dramatic. But yeah, shout out to Nev Campbell. What was she in Party of Five? Yeah, I didn't watch it either. I'm sure Kendra did. And I know there's somebody else that's famous that was part of like the main family on this show, but I just can't.
Scott Wolf.
That's it.
Yeah. And Jennifer Love Hewitt, who's, she was all right.
She's cool, dude. She's on 911. That new she's on some. She's still working. She was hot. She was in Can't Hardly Wait, Steve.
She totally was. I forgot about that. That following year, 1995, Red Hot Chili Peppers releases One Hot Minute. And it's got Aeroplane, and this is the sole album that they did with Perry.
That motherfucker's always spiked with pain.
Not Perry, Dave Navarro. And that was the problem. Like Dave Navarro from Jane's Addiction, they made great music, and I'm a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, but it was like a clashing of the styles. It just didn't mesh well, man. And this is the follow-up to Blood Sugar Sex Magic, which you could say is their most successful album, but Frusciante just couldn't get off that dog food. That smack, man, that he got smacked by it.
He's come to snuff the rooster. Yeah, dude. But I'm not a Navarro fan. Other than being a guy who fucked a lot of hot tail, Dave Navarro's vibe is just off to me.
With the eyeliner, mascara, and
he looks like he's a lot to hang out with. One of the greatest, and I'll just share this because it made me laugh so hard, is he was like the host of like a tattoo show called Ink Master, and he's like I guess his only reason for being on it was that he has a lot of tattoos. But this guy thought so much of himself at one point that he hung himself from his back skin, like BDSM style, and was like playing a guitar. And that's kind of what I envision as Dave Navarro's vibe. He just wants to be on display and let you know that he's cool, Steve. He's cool.
He's extra.
He's definitely
to do all of that just to prove a point, or like, I don't know, man. What do you get out of
that? Dude, but that sucks that he fucked up I didn't realize that he did that. I really didn't. This isn't my favorite Red Hot Chili Peppers album, but there's some bangers on it. There's a couple of good songs on it.
It's got some funky grooves, but like the music itself, the actual songs, I think I might have just added Aeroplane because that does slap. But man, it just wasn't. I felt like it was an identity crisis, just like these other two entries in '95. Lenny Kravitz, when he released Circus, and MC Hammer releasing Inside Out. I feel like for Lenny and Hammer, they had an identity crisis. Like Lenny, he just released probably his hottest track of his career at the time. Are You Gonna Go My Way? But this was not that, man. This is just your standard bonfire background music. You got some buddies over, you want to hear some like kind of funky grooves, like just like the Chili Peppers. The music, it's good. It's Lenny Kravitz, but the songs, I didn't add anything to this playlist. Same thing with Hammer. I love you, Hammer, but I feel like you went from being pop and wearing the glittery suits, and then you went Pumps in the Bump and being on death row. And it's like, dude, what am I? Am I a gangster rapper? I don't know. Let me just go back to praying. And this is just like, oh, what are you? You don't even know yourself anymore, Stanley Burrell. And I'm not trying to shit on the man because I'm a huge fan, but like this was not it. This is no, you can't touch this. Too legit to quit. Addams Groove, none of that.
Hammer.
And I hated that for him. 1997, The Game premieres in theaters. After a wealthy San Francisco banker is given an opportunity to participate in a mysterious game, his life is turned upside down as he begins to question if it might really be a concealed conspiracy to destroy him. Directed by David Fincher, starring Michael Douglas, Sean Penn, Deborah Kara Unger, James Rebhorn, and Peter Donat.
Yeah, and this I feel like this is an undersold movie, dude. This movie is a mind fuck.
Oh,
This movie,
yeah.
David Fincher is a legendary director. He directed Fight Club. He directs mind fuck movies, and this is a
Seven.
yeah, exactly. He's great at this, and this is like a psychological thriller, I guess. Michael Douglas is kind of like basically like his Wall Street character. He's just like sort of a businessman who just doesn't give a fuck about anything. He's rich, he's successful, he's got all this shit. He goes out with his brother, who's played by Sean Penn, for like his birthday, I think, and is given the gift is this card to this company that's like a lifestyle company, and I think it's like I forget what he tells him it is, but Michael Douglas is like, yeah, I would have preferred some fuck like a gift card to Sears or something instead. Fuck this, but he eventually gets involved in it, and come to find out, it gets him woven into this thing where he's not sure if this thing is a game that's part of this company because it starts affecting his life. You know, he at one point like he's in a taxi or something, and the driver just jumps out and sends him into the fucking Hudson, and he has to get out. It's
Yeah.
like, is this a game? Like, what's going on here?
And he's always trying to break the fourth wall. Like, what part is real? What part is the game? He thinks he ends the game, but things get worse throughout this movie, man. Sean Penn, like he shoots him.
Yeah.
He thinks he killed him, and then he just jumps off of the ledge, and like there's a cushion, there's a pillow that's protecting his land.
Yeah, it's just, and again, this whole movie is made where you're just like the main character. You're like, is what's going on? Like, is this happening? Or is part of the game? Is this all fakery? And even by the end of this movie, like, we're not going to spoil this, but like at the end of it, you still don't know what's what really.
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of left to guess what if this is completed, like this he's done with it, or if something else is going on. There's like a wink. The situation happens right at the end where you're like, wait, what? You know, but this is a movie I don't think a lot of people have seen, and I would highly recommend you watch it because not only is it a mind fuck of a movie, it's beautiful to watch. When he goes into his house and it's all fucked up and there's graffiti everywhere and like black light graffiti and shit, it's just a really fun, weird movie to watch where you have no idea what's going on.
It's worth a watch, man.
Yeah.
And on that same day, Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation debuts on Fox. The heroes in the half shell return to stop the evil Dragon Lord with help from their newest member, Venus de Milo. Now, we love the Turtles, but man, not this version.
Yeah, this never even made it onto my radar, Steve. I never watched an episode of this. I haven't seen an episode of this, so I'm seeing here that this actually crossed over with the Power Rangers at one
Yeah.
point. But yeah, I am not seeing a lot here to like. I got to be honest with you.
The Venus de Milo character had a ponytail coming out of the back of her skull, head, whatever, shell, and it's either Eastman or Laird. I think it was Eastman that says like don't ever mention Venus de Milo in any future projects related to this, and rightfully so because I mean it lasted one season, 26 episodes, and they look like they're hopped up on cocaine, bro. Like look at Michelangelo, he looks like Bob Backlund behind me.
Oh, it's kicking in. Yeah, dude. Okay, I do remember this now because yeah, they tried to inject like a female turtle into it, obviously. Yeah. The live action movies, this was not, Steve. This wasn't even Ninja Turtles 3 where they went back in time.
Horrible, man. How dare you? Don't touch this fucking franchise if you're gonna do some shit like this.
I like turtles. All right.
But in 1999, Fall Brawl 99 airs on pay-per-view. And it's aired from Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Yeah, man. They've lost their way completely with this, Matt. I swear to God, they've lost their way. Like I forgot this happened. Hollywood becomes Hulk Hogan again. Like this happened before Vince brought him out. I don't know what happened that led to that point. There's no mention of an NWO, red and black or nothing. And that's the main event. Him, Hulk Hogan, and Sting. And one of the many things WCW messes up on, they have one of the main event performers come out to the crowd and shoot a promo halfway through the event. Like Sting comes out and talks about his match. Like Vince never did that. If you saw somebody speaking like The Rock or something like that before the main event or Stone Cold, you're going to see their ass on a Titantron. I think that adds to the mystique, adds to the, like, you can't wait till they come out and there's going to be a huge pop. You just completely blow it when one of your main event performers just comes out. Hey guys, just wonder if you're still awake. Anyways, I'm gonna take down Hulk Hogan. Hey, I guess because it's
Stinger here,
Terminator.
guys. Just want to thank the people at the arena and the workers for all their hard work. Donate some money to the Cancer Foundation. Anywho, Hulk, you're going down.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. That's a bad move. Was this
Horrible.
okay? I've been watching a lot of like YouTube videos about wrestling, and I hear a guy's name mentioned a lot with like the fall of WCW. Was there a guy with the last name Russo that you're familiar? Vince Russo is possibly right.
Vince Russo.
He's
Yeah.
somebody that I see blamed a lot for the deterioration of the WCW products. Do you?
There's also a conspiracy theory that McMahon sent him over there because he used to be like one of Vince's henchmen. He was the head writer for WWF magazine, like a lot of those issues that we bought growing up, man. He was the head writer of that, and he was a head writer for those storylines in the Attitude Era. And then once Russo got this gig, that's when shit was really going downhill, man. And a lot of convoluted storylines. If you ever listen to Jim Cornette, he hates this man with a passion. He doesn't even call him by it. He refers to him as shit stain. So
Ouch. Well, he's the
yeah,
man with the paddle, Steve. So you don't fuck with that.
not a fan favorite, man. But like something worthy of mention. The opening match was Billy Kidman, Eddie Guerrero, and Rey Mysterio versus Shaggy Two Dope, Violent J, and Vampiro. And I gotta give Insane Clown Posse their props because they actually, I mean, they're not built like wrestlers, but they're actually pulling off some impressive moves for some guys whose 9 to 5 are they're rappers. They're not just here to like show their celebrity and like boost ratings. They're actually in the match, and I was impressed by that. Like the match itself stunk, and I think the fact that you had Guerrero in there with you, and you got a young Rey Mysterio who doesn't have his mask on either. By the way,
I
everything is just
hate
weird.
that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, dude,
Dogs and
horrible.
cats living together. Shaggy Two Dope doing elbow drops. I don't remember. I remember them wrestling, but I remember. Maybe I'm wrong here. Correct me if I'm wrong. But didn't they have like a backyard wrestling league, like as
They
well?
did. Yeah, they had their own promotion.
Yeah.
They grew up wrestling fans, so I could relate to that. And if I had the opportunity to like be a part of this magic, man, hell yeah. Probably not a performer. I just want to be a manager and talk some shit. Like yeah, and sick the big motherfucker on them,
I
like
want to
Brock
be a
Lesnar. Yeah,
guy that gets like chokes, like that gets like kicked by Shawn Michaels in the back. Like you just walk into a just some sweet chin music, like one of those dudes. Like hey Shawn, oh,
and then that's your
that's
storyline.
it. That's all. I'm just the guy to get kicked. So I think that Vince, I'm here. I know you're not in charge anymore, but or maybe you are. You probably are.
Yeah, he's always pulling the strings, man. And any callbacks, honorable mentions, or shit in your stool.
Well, shit in my stool, Steve. I mean, that's a weird thing. I don't know. I don't know what you're pulling out there. What's coming into the toilet? But yes, there is shit in my stool, thankfully. And what do I have today? Oh, was able to see Beetlejuice too, Steve. Beetlejuice. And I'm not going to spoil it, but I don't know about you. The first movie was huge for me. I loved it. I think a lot of people our age do. And as somebody with that perspective, I would give Beetlejuice a solid 7 out of 10. I had no hopes for it. I thought it was going to suck. I'm not a really big Tim Burton fan since the early to late 90s, I guess. But this was a cool return for him. I think I saw some stuff I liked. He definitely had some things in here that reminded me of the original. And Michael Keaton's always going to chew that scenery up. So you don't have to worry about that. So would I recommend you pay full price to go see it in the theater? Yes, because we need movie theaters and that's good. But if you have to wait, you're not missing like a world-ending thing. It's a solid reboot of a franchise.
Now, is Winona in it?
Winona fully in it. The mom in it. The
Love
dad
it.
referenced, shown as in different ways, but without using the actual actor because that's problematic, I believe, because he's some sort
He's
of,
canceled, right?
I think he molested people or he did something bad. But
Mm.
yeah, so all that stuff, you get basically everybody except for obviously Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, but you don't really need them. They reference them. You get a lot of callbacks. You get a lot of things you want to see. The one problem I had with the movie, and when you do see it, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. I feel like there was sort of a Beetlejuice felt a little more dangerous in the first movie, like a little more intense. And in this one, it's kind of like maybe it's just because we know the character, but I felt like they took sort of the danger and like his like something, uh, for lack of a better term, R rated. They took something away from that a little bit. But all in all, especially for something that's rebooting something I love so much, solid 7 out of 10. So I'd like to hear everyone's thoughts in the comments.
For sure, man.
What about you, bud?
Man, all I got is I watched the documentary on Gary Coleman available on Peacock over the week, and I recommend that to anyone who was a fan of his work, from Different Strokes to the various guest starring appearances that he had. And before we had Macaulay Culkin, we had Gary Coleman. You could probably say top five child stars of all time, man. And it's just unfortunate. They do a deep dive into his life from the very beginning. They interview both of his parents who are still alive. They interview the
What are
lone
they
survivor.
like, dude? What are his parents like?
I feel like they didn't know because there was a whole discrepancy of handling the money. They were his managers, and from the different accounts the different people that were around that they interviewed, they seem devious, but you interview them, like you're listening to them talk, man, and the mom seems good natured. Like a lot of that Hollywood stuff went over her head. The dad, I feel like he had his hand too deep in the cookie jar. Todd Bridges, the lone survivor of Different Strokes, he tells a story about when Gary Coleman was really sick. His dad would like force him to go out and go overseas and still like make these appearances. You got to work, you got to learn how to work, and just really pushing this kid, man. And that's your dad. But his dad, he claims that never happened. I would keep him from working if he was sick. I don't know if you're familiar with his story, but he had like a kidney ailment that prevented him from growing. He couldn't grow past a certain height.
Yeah.
He
Didn't he
wasn't
have a
born with.
complete kid? He didn't have kidneys, or they were just non-functioning. Like, didn't he have to get like
Yeah.
some kind of treatment constantly to live?
Yeah, and he got a donor, but like that kidney failed. So most of his life, his adult life, he lived without kidneys.
Jesus
Um,
Christ. That's fucking
yeah,
crazy. Yeah, I just knew he was like, obviously, I found it just kind of tragic just because it's just like at the end of it, he was such a superstar. And then at the end of his life, he just kind of became like a joke almost. I remember like he was working as like a security guard or something. And there was like
yeah,
that kind of story. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't a huge Gary Coleman fan, but I think everybody loved him that was our age. Like he was just like that celebrity from a bygone era with one of the most quotable lines of all time. You
yeah.
know?
That was the thing. It's kind of like if you go up to Jaleel White and say, "Dude, say it," like, "Dude, I'm gonna fucking punch you." That's what Gary Coleman had to deal with. They showed him on Jenny Jones, like past stars and stuff like that. And one of the guests asked him, like, "Are you gonna say it?" It's like, it's not that I can't say it. that I don't want to say it. It's just like there's more to me than that.
Also,
like I said,
I'm not
man,
a fucking circus animal that just does shit on I just guess got to be annoying. It's probably cool for like 10 minutes. And then the eighth guy that walks up to you at dinner and is like, say it, dude. And you're like, hey, dude, you want a fucking hot thing of soup in the fucking chops?
yeah. And I mean, it's got its wins in the story, because obviously, you know, he there was a time when he was on top. He had his own cartoon. He was starring in TV movies, and they do interview his wife, his widow, and just like other people who knew them say, like, man, they had no business being together. I did laugh when they showed the Dave Chappelle skit, because they did include that. It's a skit show and it's hilarious. Like, but R.I.P.
What
to
did
the
he
legend.
do? What was the skit?
They did a parody of him as a security guard, and like that whole deal where he like attacked the lady who like was trying to put him down. Like, I guess he didn't give her an autograph, and she was like, well, that's why your career never amounted to shit. And then like he like jumped on her back or some shit, but he's got like these little legs. Dude, I felt bad laughing, but like, man, R.I.P. to the legend. Love you, Gary Coleman, man. Gone but not forgotten. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister, I like pleasure. I spend playing and music is my aeroplane. That bitch is insane. Pleasure spike with pain. Please check out Food Show Fanatics with Matt and Kendra, as well as Crushgasm every Wednesday with Kendra G, our guy Clark the Shark on Podcastle. This is Steve G and Matt G with
Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!